Chicken breast is probably one of the most popular pieces of meat to cook in everyone's home. And the reason why it's so popular is it's quite easy to cook. You can't really make a lot of mistakes with it. But one thing you can do is ramp the flavor up compared to what you would normally get at home. So I'm gonna show you how best to cook a piece of chicken. So we're gonna do skin on chicken breast. We're gonna show you how to pan roast it and then nappe some moisture over the top just before you serve it. First tip is start with a cold pan. So I'm gonna turn my heat on now. And I'm gonna put my chicken in. The other thing I'm going to do is this little tenderloin, I'm gonna take off because it's gonna warp the cooking of the chicken breast. So now the breast is nice and flat and we're gonna get even cooking throughout. If that tenderloin was still on there, it would make this really high. That would cook first and this would still be raw. So take that tenderloin off. Skin side down into a cold pan. We're gonna cook it for about 5 minutes, skin side down in the pan. Then I'm going to turn it over. I'm gonna season the skin. I'm gonna season this flesh as well. As soon as I turn it, I'm gonna pop it in the oven and we're gonna roast it in the oven because cooking something that is really lean, the best way to go about it is with a radiant heat from the oven, not a fierce heat from a fry pan. So 5 minutes skin side, I'm gonna turn him over. 5 minutes in the oven to try and cook it through to the middle. Then we're gonna bring it back out. I'm gonna back on the heat, on the fierce heat on the fry pan. And then I'm gonna start to put in all my aromats and flavorings and nappe, which just means spoon over the top, all that flavor and all that moisture to get it ready for service. See, cooking chicken at home shouldn't just be cardboard chicken. You shouldn't just buy chicken breast, put it in a pan, cook it till it's dry and then put it on a plate. You can add a few little tips that will take it to the next level. So that's 5 minutes skin side down. You'll notice I didn't put any oil in the pan either. So you can see how much fat has come out of the skin. So we've rendered that fat out and that's what we can also cook our chicken in now. So I'm gonna turn it over. Got some nice color on the skin and that is gonna go into our oven. So our oven is set at 180 degrees, so anywhere between 160 and 180. It's gonna stay in there for another 5 minutes, just so we can get that heat, as I was talking about, the radiant heat of the oven through to the middle to cook it. Then it will come out and we're gonna finish it off, getting ready for service. Back onto your stove top, heat on again. A little bit of seasoning on our skin. And now we're gonna create some flavors around the chicken. So you've got some nice chicken fat in there. I'm gonna throw in a big knob of, I'm using the herb butter, the Ashgrove herb butter, because I absolutely love it to death. Pop that in. Don't worry about the amount of butter we've got in. We've got a lot of butter in there, but that all stays in the pan. So this is just to get moisture over the top of the chicken. So we're gonna melt that butter down. Remember, whenever a hot pan comes out of the oven, put a tea towel around the handle so you remember. And melt that butter. And then in with that butter, I'm gonna throw in some flavorings. Some sage and some rosemary, that goes in. Some thyme, some cloves of garlic, they all go in. Tea towel wrapped around. And now I'm gonna let that butter drain down to me, and then I'm gonna tip it over the top and keep our chicken moist. So this is the last 30 seconds just before service. And you can see that nice gloss that we're getting on top of our chicken. That's what you want. The smells in this room are insane. And this takes no real extra time. It just takes a little bit of extra care. That I'm happy with. So now our chicken can come out onto our board. Put that over there. Keep the tea towel on it so I don't come back and grab it mistakenly. And I'm just gonna let this chicken rest for a couple of minutes. Now we've oven roasted it, which means you don't need to rest it for as long as if you've pan fried it, because you don't have that fierce heat coming from the bottom, then that fierce heat from the other side when you turn it over. And what that does is it creates a line of moisture in the middle of whatever you're cooking. So if we had cooked it just in the pan, you would have heat coming from the bottom and all the moisture in the chicken would move up to a line in the middle of the chicken. You turn it over, this side, heat coming from on top, and you have that line of moisture through the middle of the chicken. If you don't let that rest and I carve it now, all that moisture bleeds out onto your chopping board. If we let it rest, that moisture relaxes back into our chicken and we get a nice moist piece of chicken. So we'll carve our chicken. And grab our plate. Pop it into our plate. And you can see how moist that chicken is. And that is the best way to cook chicken, I think. Get it with the skin on. You've rendered a lot of fat out of the skin, so it's not super unhealthy. As I said, a lot of butter went in there, but you can see the butter has all stayed in there. It's just been nappé back over the top. And you have moist, tender, beautiful chicken. So if you're eating chicken 3 or 4 times a week, once a week doing it this way, taking a little bit more love and care, and you'll probably do it once, then just do it all the other times. I reckon it's pretty good.